said, have you done pictures for the Terracotta Warriors in China? Everybody's heard about the Terracotta Warriors. They date back, I think, to 200 BC. And it's the most magnificent monument. The emperor at the time, Qi Chi Huang, I think you pronounce it, he wanted to have all these soldiers and horses, and there were even acrobats and weightlifters and stuff like that. All these statues of these people mounted around his mausoleum. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these figures with molded faces that they assembled on the site. And then they buried it when he died. He died at about the age of 49, I think. Weird guy, this emperor. He was obsessed with finding an elixir of youth, because he didn't want to die at 49, I assume. So he went around trying all kinds of alchemical mixes, all variations that scientists of the time came up with and said, look, this will give you longevity. And he was willing to try them all because he wanted to live longer than he, I guess, suspected he was going to live. Some of these elixirs were completely wacky. And one of them apparently contained mercury. And he drank it, and there's a very high chance that that's what killed him. So I thought it'd be very interesting to try and go into his energy for his crossover to see what that was about. Why did he feel, unless he had a huge number of enemies who hated him, possible, why did he feel he needed to have this tomb surrounded by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of soldiers and horses and acrobats, and it's very, very bizarre. When I went into his energy, there he is, there were two parallel poles in the air, and he was sliding down them, balancing on his arms, whizzing by. And all was fine, really, except that at some point, the whole structure took a very dramatic downturn, plunging him towards the earth, in consciousness terms. And there ahead of him was that little cave entrance that I see, a kind of tunnel that connects the ego self to the formless spiritual self in the next realm. And it delivered him pretty fast. So if it was poison, then maybe he tried it a couple of times and was just whizzing by and it felt okay, and then suddenly, whoa, it took its toll and killed him. Entirely possible. But he ended up in that little tunnel, dazed, completely shocked. He was 49 years old. It had all happened so fast. And as I watched, he didn't get up. He continued to sit there and muse, because something he wasn't used to was silence. This was a very unfamiliar situation to him. Whatever the Chinese is for, oh, that's what he was thinking. Eventually, he stood up and went to what I always see as a kind of cave thing. It doesn't exist, obviously, but it's a cave thing, a metaphorical cave, which is the beginning of the real transition process. And he looked out at this cave, and again, it was like, oh. So there was silence, there was nothing at all. But in the silence came the realization, and this I felt very strongly, the realization of, oh, it was all a waste of time. Any fear he had, paranoia he had, superstitions he had, all the effort he put into maybe wheeler-dealing as emperor, or into fighting enemies, or building this necropolis with all these terracotta soldiers in it. It's all a waste of time. It's good for historians. For the actual guy at the center of it, he frittered away so much energy on things that didn't matter, things pertaining to the ego. And he realized that now. Oh, it was all a waste of time.